What's up, my people? Welcome back to Vertical Football and welcome back to another episode of the Manchester United Fans Corner. I'm your host, Shegun. And guys, it's Monday and definitely we're talking about Manchester United. So guys, a breaking news came out about the fact that Manchester United is intensifying, their bid in the January transfer window to go for Adam Wharton of Crystal Palace. The fee quoted was £60 million. So guys, let's jump right into the discussion. Who is Adam Wharton? What profile is he as a player? Does he fit into the profiles we need in Manchester United? What club? What is his role in his current club, Crystal Palace? How does he fit into what we want to do tactically? What are the pros and cons of getting him? Where is he good at? What does he need to improve upon? Let's have that discussion about Adam Wharton. So guys, let's jump right into it. I think first and foremost, for me, it's important to maybe make a confession. Let me start by making a confession. The fact that having looked at the midfielders that Manchester United has been, linked with so far, in my mind, when I look at all those players and I compare them to the profiles that we need in our midfield, remember, we said we need two types of midfielders, right? The first midfielder is the midfielder that acts as a screen to the defense. And the second is the one we said is the all combative, high energy midfielder, that kind of box to box guy, right? So when I look at the profiles we need and I compare to the midfielders that we have been linked with, I just have this thing in my mind where I just believe it's Adam Wharton and another midfielder. So I know many times we know Baleba is the name that has been outed, right? But for me, I just feel, even with the introduction of the likes of Elliot Anderson, I just feel if you don't get Baleba, you might go for Anderson. But for Wharton, funny enough, I've not seen anybody that I can say if we don't get Wharton, we go for that person. And so for me, in my mind, it has always been a case of Adam Wharton and another midfielder. So hearing this news that we are intensifying our efforts to go for Adam Wharton, regardless of whether it's true or not, it's still a rumor at the moment. But I feel I'm not surprised. It's not a shock because I feel he is like the midfielder that is fixed. And there are many reasons why he's the midfielder that is fixed, really. Because first of all, he's a Premier League proven player, which we know there is a kind of need now and a demand for Premier League proven players. So I think this is third season in the Premier League with Crystal Palace. And so also the fact that this guy currently plays for a team that is playing a 3-4-3 system. Yes, I know some people might say the approach is different. Yes, the approach is different, but basically it's a 3-4-3 system that demands him to play in a midfield of two with two CMs, right? And he be one of those CMs and in being an integral part of the way Crystal Palace plays, right? So when I look at those things, I'm like, young, Premier League proven guy, plays in a 3-4-3 system. He has, apart from even the 3-4-3 system, he has qualities that would, will do well in what we want to do under Ruben Amorim in Manchester United. So I'm like, and there's no other midfielder I'm thinking about, no other midfielder I've seen that can actually do that. I'm looking at it now. Why not Adam Wharton? Why not Adam Wharton? So guys, let's go deeper into what Adam Wharton is as like a player and what he brings. So the role Adam Wharton will feel, after I've done my analysis of him, and I think you guys already know, is the role of the guy that acts as a screen to the defense, right? That guy that we said is, first of all, the one that has the ability to control tempo, right? One that has the ability to also, to have a long variation of passes, right? Control the tempo and a long variation of passes. That's like the two major things that I feel that guy should have, among many other things, but those are the two major things. And obviously, when you look at Adam Wharton, already when you look at him, this is a player that has variation of passes. This guy has variation of passes. We cannot even deny that one. Passing is talent. It is a natural ability. Sometimes when you watch Adam Wharton, you are like, he doesn't have to stress himself to pass the ball. Yeah, even though I believe there are a lot of ways he can improve his passing, which I will also talk about. But I just feel that when you watch him, you just be like, this guy is passing naturally. Passing is his natural ability. And already that makes him fit into what we want to do in this club. So let's talk about his passing. Let's go deeper. I feel first and foremost, this guy is a simple player. I think his passing is, there are no style to the passing. The passings are just no flops. It's just straight and direct. And I think when you look at Adam Wharton signifies what Crystal Palace represents. I think when you look at Crystal Palace and the way they approach their game, if there's a player that I have seen, or one of the players that I've seen in that Crystal Palace team that exemplifies what Crystal Palace does, is Adam Wharton. In sense of, they don't necessarily have the possession of the ball. You know, I've said it many times that against Chelsea, against Liverpool, this season, they had 28% of the possession. I think the only game Crystal Palace has had more possession in the Premier League now, more possession this season, would have to be against Sunderland. Yeah, would have to be against Sunderland. So, and I think Sunderland, they had, I think, maybe around 54% or 55% possession. I think it's not up to 60% possession, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that this season. But they win games. And when you look at Adam Wharton's profile and the statistics, you understand that although the number of touches on the ball are very low, right? The number of chances created with the few touches he had is also very high. So he's someone that, you know, he doesn't need to touch the ball much, but the little time he touches the ball, he creates something good with the ball. So I think that's what Crystal Palace is. They don't need to touch the ball, but they create something with the little possession that they have, right? And this guy is someone that, you know, doesn't touch the ball that much because of the way Crystal Palace plays, but he's someone that, you know, as a midfielder, when he receives the ball, he's someone that plays it quick and creates dangerous situation for his team that his team can capitalize upon. And I feel that is good to see. That is really good to see, because the way he plays and the way he turns defense to attack quickly, you know, no flops, no holding on to the ball, no trying to style the ball down. It's just quick. When you see that, you see why, you know, why it fits into what we want to do, at least in parts, why it fits into what we want to do, because that profile that we need is a midfielder that, first of all, can help us turn defense to attack quickly. Doesn't need to be holding on to the ball. And I've explained many times about why Kobe Mino struggles in this side and under this system, because Kobe Mino, you know, wants to, you know, hold the ball. The acceleration in his game is not that there, but Adam Wharton does it quick. He does it quick. He turns defense to attack quick. He has a decent acceleration, you know, in terms of how he pushes the team forward. I think that's what we need. And I think also, for example, when you look at Adam Wharton, in terms of, yeah, I know he has that quality, as there's some games you watch Adam Wharton do in terms of his ability to push the team high up, right? In as much as I know that he has to improve on that aspect, and I've said it in one of our videos before, but I'm saying it now, that I believe he needs to improve upon this ability to, you know, to push the team forward. Even though I know, yes, he's playing with a midfielder that whose primary role, that's the other kind of midfielder, whose primary role is to push the team high up. But he, as a player, needs to increase his ability to not just depend on forward passes, but also to push the team forward in terms of hold the ball and then push. But I understand that he has those qualities, but also when you are playing for a Crystal Palace team that depends on quick transitions, it's just normal that when you receive the ball, as you are the person that, one of the people that have been given that responsibility, you do it quick. But when you come to a Man United side that, you know, we don't just want that quick transitions like that. Sometimes we also want players that will push the team up, right? Example is against Brentford. We suffered that against Brentford. That's our away game against Brentford that we lost 3-1, where we actually needed midfielders that could hold the ball and push the team forward. Not just passes now, push the team forward, you know, take our play to the next level. And I feel that kind of quality, he has it. But when it comes to Manchester United, he needs to really improve upon that. So guys, I feel his passing, as I said, variation of passes. For me, I feel passing, as I said earlier, is his natural ability. And I know he's still a young boy, this 21 years old boy. I feel he has to still improve upon the variation of passes. Because, you know, one thing about Manchester United and the squad that Ruben Amorim is trying to build is that one of our major strengths in Manchester United is the verticality of our play, you know, and not just verticality of our play alone, but also the fact that we are very good in punishing teams. And this has been Manchester United for a number of years, but we're also very good in punishing teams when we use our wings very well. We have wing backs. Dogu, we have Ahmad, right? We have Mbeumo that keeps maximum weight. We have Kunwa that can also, you know, push forward and cause a lot of damage. So we need a midfielder that can really make our opposition suffer on the ball. And that's someone that can just throw long balls, stretch, collect the ball, throw long. We need to make teams suffer, especially when we are playing at Old Trafford. Just for example, I think I said it before the Chelsea game, and this is with due respect to Chelsea Football Club, their stadium is quite smaller. And so that's why sometimes when they come to Old Trafford, I know this season is different because they had the red card early, but over the years, I think the last time they said they won at Old Trafford, or it was in 2013, it's no coincidence because they come from a very, very small stadium. Yeah. A very small stadium. Let me not say very, very small, but a very small stadium. And so when you come to a big stadium like Old Trafford, right? One of the things we use to make teams like Chelsea suffer is the verticality of our play. So we need a midfielder that has that ability to variation of passes. Short, long, we need to make teams suffer. Because, for example, you have the boy and you have maybe Mbeumo or Ahmad coming from that side. You throw it quickly. You have the likes of Kunwa and Dogu, that side. We need to make teams suffer like that. It's Old Trafford, it's a big stadium. And so for me, I like the fact that he has that variation of passes, that passing is his natural ability. But I feel it's something he needs to improve upon, and eat it long and just be like, that orchestra, that person that can just make the opposition really suffer, make them really suffer. There's an overload there. You take the ball, you pass it there. And I think one other thing about Adam Wharton that I see is the fact that he's a left footer primarily, but his right foot is not so bad. And I think for me, I like that yes, you're predominantly a left footer, but you also can throw some decent passes with your right. And I think it will help him. Because, for example, if we are on this side and we create an overload here, Ahmad and Mbeumo are doing some work there, and they give Wharton. Sometimes he doesn't necessarily need to turn and then start. He wants to now use his left to push it. Sometimes you just give him and he uses his right to do a decent ball to the likes of Dogu there. I think with the width of Old Trafford, we will make him suffer like that. And I think for me, I want him. I really want him. I've watched him. And I feel he's a player that I will tell, if I'm the Manchester United manager, when we are in Old Trafford, when we have time to use or the space to use our verticality of our play, especially against smaller teams, right? That are coming from smaller stadiums, right? That are not used to the width of Old Trafford. I will just tell you one thing: make them suffer. I want you to make them suffer. And how will you make them suffer? Verticality of your play, variation of your passes. Make them suffer. And I feel we have players that can capitalize on that and really make them suffer. So I think in Adam Wharton's game, let me say something about his game. I said about the fact that I need him to push us forward, right? I want him to push us forward in terms of his progression now, not the ball progression, but his own progression in terms of his own movement. And one player that comes to mind when I look at Adam Wharton and the kind of player I want him to at least have qualities of, for me, is Nemanja Matic. When I look at Wharton, yeah, I know is people are like, what are you saying? Well, the fact is, yeah, I know obviously there are certain things about what Matic's game that Wharton still has to develop upon, but the fact of him pushing a team higher, I know sometimes when he receives the ball, as I said, he does take a pass, but when you look at Matic, for example, Matic receives the ball. Not every time does he pass quickly. He receives the ball and he himself drives forward. So he needs to improve upon that. Then also another thing about Matic's game is that Matic has the ability to roam, right? Wharton has it, but the qualities are not yet showing as much as I would want in terms of roaming. In sense of you receive the ball, right? Especially against maybe you are playing against a team that is low block, right? Sometimes if you are playing against a team that is you are counter pressing, they're already high up. So what you need to do is just play quick, right? But if you are playing against a team that is low block, which when you come to Manchester United, a lot of teams will be low block against you, you need to develop your ability to roam. That's carry the ball, run to the sides, try and find passes, try and find spaces. It's not just centrally and sprinting. Sometimes it's about you collecting the ball as a midfielder, move here, pass to somebody, give me back, move here, pass somebody. So that roaming ability needs to enter his game because I feel it will help him. Yeah, I know the colleagues are not yet showing well, now because it's playing for a low block, mid block kind of team that is on quick transitions. But when you come to Manchester United, where some teams will just sit back, and do the low block against you, so you can't do those quick balls again now. So what you need to do now is have the ability to push here, push there, pass, give me, and find those, that's those spaces. And I think that's one area of his game that he needs to improve upon. He has the qualities. I can see the qualities in him because he's a good passer of the ball and he finds people in very, very good angles. But I feel it's something we will need to see when it comes to Manchester United in terms of the ability of him to play against low block side, which will be a new thing for him considering what Crystal Palace are used to. Now, I think obviously the guy is comfortable on the ball. Obviously, as I've said many times, the passing is there. And not just that, he's comfortable on the ball. When you see him, you feel this kind of security with him on the ball. And I think that's what we need in United because Ugarte is not comfortable on the ball. Casemiro is even worse, as you can see, is worse. And for me, we do need a midfielder that is comfortable on the ball because also when he's comfortable on the ball and the little guile that Wharton has in his game, you can sense it, maybe because he's a left footer, but you can sense that little guy. I think it will help him to develop in the sense of controlling the game. We need a midfielder, as I said, that screens the defense, that can control the game. And when you're comfortable on the ball as a midfielder, and you are not and football is not like a bomb in your leg, that you can actually hold the ball and also calm the ball. I think it will also help in what we want him to do. And sometimes we are already winning 2-0 in a game, and maybe it's like the 50-something minutes, and we just want to just calm the game a little bit and not just make it end-to-end. A midfielder that can actually be comfortable on the ball is what we need, right? Is what we need. And I feel he has those qualities. He's just 21, and I know he has to improve a lot of things, but the qualities are there. The foundational qualities are there that we can definitely work with. So hold the ball because Casemiro can't do it. Ugarte can't do it. Even Bruno is, as we know what Bruno does, it's just, but Wharton can hold the ball and maybe pass to the defenders and maybe just, let's have that comfort, really comfort on the ball. Yeah, another thing I feel this guy will bring, which might be secondary really, but also very, very important, is the fact that, set pieces and crosses from set pieces in terms of corners, in terms of side free kicks. I'm not happy with the way we are playing our side free kicks this season. Even our corners, I'm not happy. I think you guys also seen I'm not happy with what we are doing, really, because I know, Mbeumo has taken up the role of the left-hand side crosses, but from many of the times he has done it, we haven't actually gotten good delivery. So I know, yes, he can do it. I know sometimes he takes the corner. I know he can do it, Mbeumo, but for some reason, he's not doing it currently. And Wharton is just, he just crosses does come. You see him that for him, hitting the ball, he doesn't need to think much about it. It's a natural ability for him to hit the ball and to even spin the ball in very nice ways. So I think it's someone that we can also look at because we need goals from everywhere, right? Arsenal is scoring goals from various areas now. And so that you see the likes of Rice, you see the likes of Saka, I think Odegaard also. You see them do some very nice balls. So you need those quality guys that can give you the delivery on the corners or on the set pieces. And I feel this guy will give it to us, really give it to us. Now, let me say one last thing about Wharton. Is the fact that there is a deficiency in his game, major deficiency in his game that I have tried to look at, and I'm like, I don't know how we will solve this, but maybe we have to just get in with the deficiency, really. I think area duels. Is really, really a big thing, a big thing because, we need to dominate with area duels. And I know maybe sometimes we might not be winning the first ball with him, but maybe sometimes if he's good on the second balls, maybe that would be like, okay, he's not good first balls, but second balls is good. But I just feel that's a major. I look at the statistics. I watched him. I saw that issue. I look at the statistics, and the statistics even made me more afraid. The area duels is an issue, but I feel the people that are scouting at Manchester United already, I think they should have already seen this, and it's something they have to work on because for me, I like midfielders that can also win area balls because sometimes in the Premier League, especially, you know, first balls, second balls, third ball situations are very, very important, especially when you're playing away from home, right? You want to win those duels, and his statistics on that is really, really scary. So, guys, Adam Wharton to Manchester United. I want to say this. I'm 100% in support of it. I just feel, as I said earlier, I feel it's Adam Wharton and the others. As Adam Wharton and Baleba, or Adam Wharton and Elliot Anderson, or whoever midfielder comes above. But I feel, for me, it's something this guy will improve our midfield. Yes, I have said a lot of things that he has the basic foundational qualities. I understand that where he's playing currently in Crystal Palace makes him to play a certain way. But I know when it comes to Manchester United, in another environment, there are other aspects of his game that he already has that will shine forth. So, guys, these are my opinion on Adam Wharton. What do you think about the guy? Because I am 100% in support of this move. 60 million, I feel, is Premier League decent. Let's go for him if he can get him for 60 million. What do you think about it? Do you think it's good for us? If you don't think it's good for us, in that position that we play, that we just analyzed, what player do you think will do well instead, right? So let's have that discussion and we analyze it and we'll see if that player is a much better player in that role. So, guys, thank you for sticking with me. I remain my humble self, Shego. And guys, thank you for always commenting, your love, your support on all our platforms. We truly appreciate you. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share. Until I see you next time. Bye.